bringing sexy back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about a set of tweets that have come out, and I wanted to talk about this months ago, really months ago. And the reason why is because I do think men's mental health is something that gets highly ignored. I think it gets highly shamed, and I think a lot of the times it gets weaponized. And whenever men speak out about this, they get attacked, they get shamed, they get belittled, and I've made a multitude of tweets on this. And every time I do, I have if for some reason the tweets that I make that I think that will just flop and get like 2K impressions always end up just popping out. And it's just constant. And it's kind of funny because even my own haters can't disagree with me, yet they get angry at me still. And this is the thing. People don't get angry at me because I'm wrong. They get angry at me because they say what they're thinking, but they're too scared to say it. And for some reason, I kind of get always kind of dubious at making videos on it. Generally, I just feel like it doesn't fit on the channel or whatnot. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about it. We're going to do it in my pajamas. I'm all chill. I've been out in the garden. Going to chill and talk about this. Because I think it's an important topic to talk about. And I think a lot of men feel too scared to talk about it because anytime a man talks about it, they get shamed. And let's be honest here. This isn't just about VTubing, but I will be specifically referencing VTubing. Because that's mainly where the issue is that I see. It happens outside the VTuber community. So before someone goes, well, actually, I get it. So the tweet itself is female content creators space or creation space is crazy. It is the place where women can trash on the main audience, which directly finances her, and they're loving it. Which is true, by the way. You have no idea how many men go out and defend certain female VTubers that absolutely trash on them. Bao and Shy Lily are a great example of how manipulated an audience has become. That's just reality, and I've talked about it publicly multiple times, how that audience is completely captured by this idea that these guys think that they might have a chance with a bunch of chicks that are probably getting railed on the side. I've heard other rumors about other things, like things that go on at Twitch, but again, need evidence to that. And then you go, do you guys like sitting in the chair in the corner? Monkey, again, confused. And I think that's a very valid point because I think one of the biggest issues is, yeah, men seem to feed it. And it's not all men. I feel like there's a massive rift and divide. Men that are sick of this and men that just keep feeding into it. And I think in part of it is the fact that some of these men are very lonely, they're very desperate, they want any form of female recognition. Like, they just want any attention. So they think, well, if I throw, and I'll throw a funny joke here that I got told by one of my male friends, they throw all this money at them, hundreds of dollars, just to get that girl to notice them for seconds. For seconds. They'll throw money to get that couple of seconds of recognition, and it fills them with joy. You know, remember that meme that guy goes, I touched a woman, oh my god. It's like that. And it's cringy, it really is. It's weird, it's cringy, it's creepy, and these chicks don't even like them. They hate them. They hate their own audience. It's not all female VTubers, to be very clear, because whenever I talk about these, a lot of female VTubers agree with me. Many of them follow me. Many of them have retweeted this. So I want to be very clear. I'm not aiming this at all. I'm aiming at a very specific group out there that have massive male dominance. And they do. They have these guys that throw money at them for that 3 seconds of attention. Because they're so desperate for female affection that that's how they'll go about it. And so they become very defensive. And because these people are financially invested, once they've thrown in a couple $100, they need to defend their poor financial decision. Rather than admitting, you know what, I made a mistake, they need to justify it. They need to, in a sense, it's copium. They're trying to convince themselves that they didn't make a bad decision. Rather than admitting they've made a bad mistake and move forward and better themselves, they've decided, no, I'm going to double down, triple down. And that's why you get a lot of male, even content creators and male consumers that absolutely de-rode Bao when she made her tweet originally dunking on larger male content creators going out and grooming. Because it was such a generalization of larger male content creators, which, by the way, Bao sucks up to larger male content creators. So it is a bit of hypocrisy, unless she was trying to throw shade at her own male content. And people say, well, it was specific context to a specific situation, but it was like, again, she didn't clarify that. She was very broad. And a lot of the times, VTubers will use those situations as an excuse to just absolutely beat down on men any opportunity. And this is why I bring up the whole convenience thing. It's brought up multiple times that every time of the year when men's mental health comes up, these same VTubers will come out all pro men's mental health, and then after that weeks or month or whatever, I generally think it's more a week or so, and then go back to just dunking on men. And there are so many female VTubers, and I saw one comment of this, and I actually kind of agreed. So many female VTubers that will not ever collaborate with male content creators at all, period. Now, I can understand why a female content creator will say, you know what, I'm a bit more skeptical because of how male content creators can behave, and it's like, that's understandable. But that applies to everyone, right? You've got to be dubious, you've got to be careful, because content creators can be very clawy, they can be very manipulative, they can try and use you. I've had it happen to me. I've had female content creators lie, gaslight me, and use me. I've had male content creators do it to me. So I've learnt firsthand what it's like. But that doesn't mean that I won't collaborate with other guys or chicks. I've got a bunch of collaborations coming up in the future. Some that I'm hoping to work out at a later date. So it is one of those. But I see it all the time where these female VTubers will say they're all pro men's mental health. And then the moment they say, hey, would you collaborate with these male content? And they go, no. And you ask them why, and they're like, I don't want to collaborate with men. It's like, okay, you're pro men's mental health, you're pro men, but you don't ever want to even associate with a guy online. Why? And a lot of it comes down to several factors. One, they hate men. Two, they don't want to be seen like they're taken. And that's another issue as well, is that this whole idea that a chick that's a content creator has to be single. And that's why you see a lot of chicks that are in a relationship, they just get hate. They just, like, they come out and they say, yeah, I'm married, I'm engaged, I'm with a partner. And straight away guys go, what? Unfollow. And it's like, okay, that is just stupid on guys' end. Like, you're expecting, would you do that to a guy if he turned around and said, yeah, I'm in a relationship with a chick? Be like, no, you'd probably cheer them on. Maybe you'd shame them. I don't know. But I don't ever see that issue ever arise. So I don't know to ever think about it. Because guys generally, when they say they're in a relationship, they don't get shamed for it. But chicks, they do. So there's always this perception that it's financially beneficial for a chick to present themselves as single. And definitely, I do think some chicks present themselves as single when they're not, just so they know that they can get more financial backing. And I think there are some chicks that deliberately keep themselves single so that they can gain more money. And so then they get older and older and older. And that is a kind of a bit of a jab at certain female flesh tubers that I think deliberately keep themselves single so that they can present themselves as available meat on the market. And so that way it goes into this whole tweet that I hate VTubers who are so pro men's mental health when it's convenient for them. But the second it's no longer convenient for what they want in a man, they turn on the man and the men's mental health and don't care to understand how and why they feel the way that they go about ongoing problems. And then we become the problem again. We're lazy, stupid, we need to do better, we need to be like that other guy. And that's the thing, we always generally get compared to, well, this is what you should be. And it's always unrealistic standards. You've got to have a house. And it's like, okay, so you're a single guy with no kids, either never married or not married, like you're available and you're expected to have a house with millions of dollars, six-pack, certain height. And then of course they add in all these other prerequisites that are just little minor esoteric things. And it's just like, okay, this is a little bit over demanding. And then you get shamed for not having those things. It's like, do you know how insane the economy is right now? It takes a couple to buy a house. And you're expecting a guy that's single to have a house ready for you to move in. I think sometimes standards can be a little bit out of whack. And because their standards become too high, but they pretend not long ago that they are pro-men and not too high standards, then the mask slips off. And that's absolutely what happens. It's absolutely what happens. And then there's other tweets as well that agree with me, right? I agree with you, and this behavior usually comes from the same place. A lot of these VTubers aren't actually pros mental health. They are pro-men who meet their expectations. And it's very true. The moment a man struggles in a way that isn't attractive or useful, empathy disappears and turns into blame, shame, and comparison, which is true. As soon as we no longer fit that perfect box, we then get compared to another guy and we say, well, be more like them. And it's always that 1% guy that every chick wants to chase. But let's be realistic. If all of you are chasing that one guy, unless he's going to build a harem, which is unlikely, you're fighting against all of it, all these other chicks. And especially in the content creator space, it can get quite weird and narky. This is where modern feminism shows its hypocrisy. It claims to support men too, yet still expects men to never break, always perform, and carry emotional weight silently. Which is true, by the way. I've spoken recently on Twitter about my situation with my family. I've talked about it a couple of times. I've made separate videos. And I know that if I was a chick, I'd get 1,000 times more support. I've talked about how I've lost all my family, pretty much, like, everyone except, like, a distant cousin. I've lost all my family. Like, they've all just died, one after another. And how my financial situation changed because of it. Because I went from, like, this house used to be my mother's. I used to sleep right there. That was my bed. If you've watched my content long enough, you know my bed used to be there. This was my computer table. This used to be my room. Now it's my workspace. My bedroom's now been moved. I now own this house. This used to be my mother's house. So I've inherited that. And then, of course, with the death insurance and the super and all that other kind of stuff. And then I lost my grandfather, my uncles. And as things went on, I ended up inheriting it all. And so now I'm basically just a loner dude in my room making videos. And I have all this money, but all on my own. That's that thing. So yeah, people have asked, are you a millionaire? Technically, valuation-wise, I am a millionaire. I live comfortably. I do YouTube for fun now. But at the same time, it sucks. You lose your family. You talk about it, and people go, well, who cares? You've got money. You should be happy. It's like, dude, it sucks being alone. It sucks sitting in your house with a cat that won't stop eating, and it's just like, it's lonely. It's miserable. And the dating market's absolutely toxic. You go out there, and that's all chicks want. They want money. And I get told from my male friends all the time, they say, don't, if you date a chick, don't tell her you've got money. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But I'm an honest person. But at the same time, you sometimes need to hide that because you don't want someone to just chase you because of the financial benefit. So you see the problem there. That's why I want to explain it. Because it's that contextual of like, you're expected to have the money, but then you've been told not to tell them ahead of time because that's all they're going to chase. So it shows these like weird double standards that go on within the dating market. And then when you talk about men's mental health, going into that again, you get shamed for it. You get belittled. Oh, well, why do you care? Just tough up. Go do this. Go do that. Bootstraps, kind of just go out there and get in the market and some girl will fall in love with you. And it's like, okay, but then you've got to be dubious because there are people that have nefarious purposes. So it's like you add all these pieces together. That isn't equality or support. It is resentment towards men dressed up as moral superiority. If you support turns into do better, be like that guy, the second it's inconvenient, the mask absolutely slips. And it's true. It's absolutely true. And then I've made a follow-up tweet actually not long ago, and that's where I talked about this exact situation, right? And the fact is that a lot of men, and I appreciate the support that I get from my own community. It's small, it's strong. I prefer to have I don't want to become a 1 million sub channel. I actually don't. I know that sounds insane, but I don't. I just want a strong, nice community that I can have. I don't want to be some Mr. Beast or PewDiePie. And I'm not shaming them. I'm just saying I don't want that size. I don't want even the I just want a nice, strong community. 100K, and even then it doesn't matter. It's just most of my subs are dead anyway on this channel. But I just want a strong community that I can enjoy, that I can talk to, that I can interact, that I can share my hobbies and passion for, that I can be nerdy and geeky about, right? And at some point, we'll unbox the bad boys in the corner, which I'll show in a minute, just for fun. But it really highlights a lot of male content creators do struggle. I mean, I just saw a video of, and I forget his name. I apologize. I can't remember. I think it's Kai. He was clipped learning English, like he was learning different complicated words, and people were mocking him for it. Mocking a guy for trying to learn better English, and then people were kind of using, oh, well, he's just, and it's like, dude, education system in America and the rest of the world sucks. Even in Australia, our education system sucks. People are becoming more illiterate because of the very fact that schools just don't teach things properly. I am actually partially dyslexic, which is why I suck at reading. And you say, well, how's your English so great? I get grok to spell check stuff. And then I read through it because I'm better at reading than writing. And that's just because of my language disorder. And I struggled. Schools didn't teach me jack squat. And that's why I try to read as much as possible. I've got all my books up there. I've got more books in the other room. I try to read as much as possible to try and keep that knowledge sharp. But, you know, when we try to improve ourselves, we get shamed for it. And then these chicks tell us, oh, well, you need to do this to be better. And then we try to better ourselves, and then we get shamed for it. It's like, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. What the bloody hell do you want from me? Crikey. Right? So that's why I generally get frustrated. That's why I vent this frustration. Because it always comes down to this annoying sort of game of, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. Right? If you have those things, they're still not happy. If you don't have those things, they shame you for it. You know, some of these chicks out there, they want these millionaires. They want these guys with these houses. And then you don't want to go out into the dating market and just say, yeah, I'm a millionaire with a house, right? It's not smart for me to do that. I get warned all the time. I'm a little bit too honest for my own fault. If you follow me long enough, you know I'm just very blunt. I'm very honest. I don't like to hide things. Because I've been lied to a lot in my own life. But it always gets used against you. And it's not necessarily lying. You're just withholding certain information. And that's the thing. Guys become more and more and more protective. We shut down. We don't want to communicate. And then we get shamed. I'm all over the place. I'm absolutely bloody all over the place as far as talking about this. But it's such a... And maybe in the future, I'll write down some dot points and I'll go over it piece by piece or piece. And I'll probably talk about it in a future stream. Probably tomorrow night stream, if I'm not doing anything. But I just wanted to vent it. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Because I think it is a very complicated, annoying situation. Because every time certain female VTubers come out and they say they're pro men's mental health, the second it is inconvenient for them, they then turn on men. Right? They only like being pro men's mental health when it's convenient for what they want and what they desire out of a man. But the second that man no longer has that and you're being unrealistic, they then turn on man. And the same men then cuck themselves out. And the funny thing is, the men that defend these chicks don't even have the things that this chick wants. These are probably young guys that think, well, if I just do this, this, and this, I'll get that. You're being unrealistic. I was in that shoe at one point where I was as dumb as a doorknob. And I was sitting there thinking, oh yeah, well, if I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that, I'll get there. And no matter how hard I tried, it just felt like I was failing. I'm only in the situation that I'm in purely based on a bit of luck and some hard work. I've worked hard for some of the things that I have, but definitely some luck has definitely helped me. And luck has almost come with its own curse as well, as I mentioned. So it just sucks that this is kind of the situation we're in. And I don't think anything's going to change because there is a massive benefit for treating men like absolute garbage and manipulating men and weaponizing men. Because I also feel sorry for a lot of female VTubers that have to deal with this because if they speak out, the other ones weaponize those men to attack them. Men are like a tool. We are a bank balance and we are a sword. And they use us to destroy other female content. It's like a ladder. And I don't think so much some of these VTubers at the top are doing it for the money anymore. It's the status. It's the fame. It's the power. It's the status. It's intoxicating. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I don't want to ramble too much. Future stream. Okay? If you like my content, I just want to talk about more open things. I've got some more anime stuff that I want to talk about. And again, once this room is painted, you know, seen as the house is mine now, I'm allowed to do whatever I want in this bloody damn house. My house! We get to open these bad boys. Right? We get to open these bad boys. Which will be done at some point. The furniture here, we'll move that. I know, I'm so strong, rah. Got the Fate series down here, 15th anniversary. We've got Fire Emblem. We've got Slime. We've got Old School, Free Ran, Cafe Made Terrorists, Damachi, Saber, Xenoblade, Angel Beats. Got some classics. Mina Tepish, Beta, Alia Sometimes Feelings in Russian, Yamagi's Sisters, more Alia. There's more Fire Emblem down there. We've got all kinds of stuff in here. A lot of Fate stuff, actually. We've got some Data Live as well. They're just hiding there because I had to stack it all. And they got some Apothecary Diary as well. So I might show them off on the stream. But at some point, we will be unboxing them once I get everything sorted and we get the glass cabinets. So definitely have that to look forward to. I know I've been harping about that for a couple of bloody weeks now, but I'm determined to get the painting and get the glass cabinet built and get this all sorted so we can have some fun on stream. Some